There's the beautiful city of Chicago, and both of the city's baseball teams in action on the north side here this afternoon as our Sox take on the Chicago Cubs in venerable Wrigley Field. Scene of a lot of rebuild, not only with the ball club, but with the entire neighborhood. And things looking real good for the Cubs right now as they're on the other side of the rebuild, winners of the World Series, and a team that's just starting to heat it up, doing what everybody thought they were going to do, which is winning it in the Central and the National League. As far as our ball club is concerned, our Sox in a rebuilding mode. A lot of young players out there. We'll see how they are in their development as we move along. But let's take a look at the starting pitchers for the entire four-game series. Miguel Gonzalez goes to the mound today against Kyle Hendricks, who's just coming off the disabled list. Then it's Carlos Rodon, who had a late start to his season. He'll go head-to-head tomorrow afternoon in the finale here at Wrigley Field, and his opponent will be John Lackey. Then it shifts to the south side, and Wednesday night and Thursday night, a two-game series. Jake Arrieta against James Shields in the opener on Wednesday night. Thursday night, in the finale of the four-game stretch, John Lester against Mike Pelfrey. So now we're going to take a look at a recent addition to the Chicago Cubs, and we know him very well. That's Jose Quintana, who's 2-0 in his two starts for the Cubs. And last night, he threw the ball very well, although not near as well as he threw it the first time out against Baltimore. But he went 6, gave up 3 earned runs, struck out 7, walked a pair, and overall at 2-0. The Cubs very happy with what they've got on the major league aspect of a trade where they traded away their #1 prospect. So in the two starts, Jose is 2-0. His ERA 2.08 in 13 innings. He's given up 8 hits, walked only a pair while fanning 19, an opponent's batting average at 182. So with Jose Quintana coming over, becoming a Cubs, getting exactly what they needed to get, which was a top-of-the-rotation starting pitcher, they're pretty happy with the deal so far. So stay with us. We'll be back with more after these messages.
We are gearing up for Game 1 of the Crosstown Cup, and it's time now for your Miller Lite game report. And Melky Cabrera left yesterday's game after fouling a ball off of his foot in the 3rd inning. He says he's feeling good today. I saw him in the clubhouse earlier. He showed me his foot. There really was not any bruising. He's going to be batting leadoff. And I also talked to him about how he feels about the Crosstown Cup. I asked him if he was ready. He said, I love this series. I said, what is it about this series? He said, is it the fans? Is it the energy? He said, it's the adrenaline. Well, the adrenaline will certainly be running high for both teams, and there's surely some excitement from the managers. Here's what the skippers had to say before the game.
We got to keep fighting. We got to keep playing. I don't think that there's anything else you can do. I think that, you know, obviously we've had some changes, but nobody in the world's going to care about that. I mean, we go out there and try to compete every single day. It's been a tough stretch, but I think we've tried to be in every single ball game with some tough losses. But you know, we continue to, I believe, kind of scratch and fight and do the best we can on a daily basis. We got a lot of baseball left. We got 2 months left of the season, a little over 2.5 months. So you don't have any time to feel sorry for yourself. Like I said, I know there's a lot of changes going on, but you got to keep playing the game. They have an opportunity to gain a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, see a lot of the best that exists in the game, and learn from it. We're not trying to lose. We're not trying to lose. We're doing everything we can to try to win a ball game. You know, you put those guys out there to do what they do. You know, sometimes it doesn't work out, but these men aren't coming out here trying to lose. They're doing everything they can to try to win a ball game. It's foolish. You know, I know you guys have heard me say that before, but you got 40,000 people in the stands. I'm going to go out there and so you can boo me. You know, no, I want to go out there to have success. I want to perform. I want to do well, and I know that's what they think in their head. They want to do their job, but they got to focus on their job. And at the end of the day, you know, someone wins, someone loses, and that's just the way it is. That's the nature of the beast.
Isn't this part of the process, though, that when you do have failures, that when you do have success, you can actually learn from that, and you know, there's some positive things coming in?
Well, that's the biggest thing about anything, even with any club that's even positioned well. You don't waste opportunities. When things doesn't go well, you don't waste that opportunity to learn from something from that situation. I think that's where you know, a lot of people lose sight of that. You can either lose yourself in the frustration of not performing well, or you can take a step back. I know you're upset that you didn't do well, but take a step back and understand what just happened and see if you can take advantage of it to do something better the next time.
My expectation on a daily basis is that we are going to play well and that we are going to win. I thought from the beginning of the season it was going to be a different path, and it has been to this point. I also felt that post All-Star break, with the appropriate amount of rest and guys being healthy, that we were due to make a nice little run. So I don't know if the right word is relieved. I don't you know, vibrate that way. I've talked about that in the past. It's just about the process of the day. We're starting to look like we're supposed to look. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. It matters what we're doing. And right now we're playing the game like we're able to play, like we're accustomed to playing. The room is proper. The dugout's really alive during the game. That's where my focus is. It's not about my own personal relief. It's about the group. So right now I'm seeing the interaction being right. I'm seeing the energy being as high as it possibly can be. It's really been fun to watch our guys in the dugout right now and see them come off the field. Watch them run out, watch them come off. I mean, those are the kind of things I pay attention to. You can't necessarily hear the interaction in the dugout, but it's been very lively and good. So if I'm going to be relieved, I know the relief's going to be the residue of that kind of interaction among our group.
Joe, can you talk about the rebuilding the...
This morning, the guy that works in our garage there, the car guy, he's a White Sox fan, but his daughters are Cub fans. So he said he could not necessarily wish me luck today. I said, I don't want you to. I said, I want you to root for the White Sox. If that's who you're about, then you root for the White Sox. So even just getting your vehicle in the morning, I was infiltrated or touched by a White Sox fan. Good guy, I thought. And then, but by the time I was pulling out, he said, good luck anyway, as I was driving out. So it's good stuff.
We are about 10 minutes away from first pitch. Let's listen in on the national anthem performed by the cast members of Hamilton.
At this time, please remain standing and join cast members from the Chicago Company of Hamilton as they honor America with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of
glimpse into a bright and exciting future filled with youth, speed, and power. And today, Rick Renteria leads the Sox into Wrigley Field for this year's edition of the Crosstown Cup, and that's next, right here on CSN. White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. And we are coming to you from Wrigley Field, where this afternoon, CSN Chicago proudly presents White Sox baseball. It's Avi Garcia, Jose Abreu, and Rick Renteria Sox as they get set to butt heads with Joe Maddon's defending world champion, Chicago Cubs. Hi, everybody, and welcome. With Steve Stone, I'm Ken Harrelson, as we get set to bring you the first of this two-game set from Wrigley, and the first of 4 against these Cubs. We'll have 2 here, and then they'll come over to our place and have 2. So the Sox coming off a tough road trip. But, you know, Steve, the thing about it is that when you have a plan and you understand that plan, you can accept what's going on with our ball club because of the fact we have such good young talent. For an example, Adam Engel is just growing, and growing.
There is no doubt when this rebuild started, Adam Engel's name wasn't prominent in the rebuild, but he certainly has made a name for himself, and he's done it largely with his glove. He's been unbelievable defensively, and he drove in 3 with a bases-clearing double yesterday. So he's starting to heat it up. Yes, he's hitting .228, and yes, he's only driven in 8. However, With his contribution being defensive at this point, he's done a great job of shoring up the defense in the outfield, and he can go get them from alley to alley.
And on the other side of that field, Chris Bryant, since the break, has really been hot.
There is no doubt that Chris Bryant, the defending MVP, is a guy with enormous talent. He hasn't really shown it yet, but he's starting to show it now. He's hitting .280. Over the last 7 games, he's hitting .462 overall. 19 home runs, 42 driven in. He'll get a whole lot better than that, but as he's enjoyed a resurgence, so has his ball club. And right now the Cubs look poised to do what everybody thought they were going to do anyway, which is run away in the Central in the National League.
And on that bump this afternoon, a couple of right-handers.
We got a couple of veterans going head-to-head today, and one of the veterans is a young veteran, and that's Kyle Hendricks, who's coming back off the disabled list. He's 4-3 this year. Last year the ERA was remarkable for the right-hander, who's got a great straight change. Miguel Gonzalez last time out against Clayton Kershaw had to be brilliant. He was very good, but he lost 1-0. Threw the ball as well as you could throw it, got out of a lot of jams. The wind is blowing straight in here. It's 71 degrees, which means it's awfully cold for this time of year. With the wind blowing in, it's a good day to pitch.
All right, 1st of 4 against these Cubs, so sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way.
Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. Tested, trusted, Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. By Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite, hold true.
Welcome back to Wrigley Field on a rare day, and I say it's a rare day not because of the home-and-home situation between our Sox and the Chicago Cubs, but because here it is toward the end of July. The wind is blowing straight in. It's in the low 70s at game time. There is a chill in the air, which is much more indicative of either somewhere in early May or somewhere in the middle of September. But not to be. A pitcher's day today. We'll have to see how both of them fare as you take a look at the flags. It is a little bit chilly in driving to the park today. You notice that it was a little colder than it normally is this time of year, which is pretty good because when you take a look at the way the Cubs have been recently, they're starting to hit the ball out of the ballpark. This park very much favors them if it's a home run hitting contest. If it's going to be pitching and defense, well, becomes a little bit different because the Sox are going to face a guy in Kyle Hendricks that's just coming back off the DL, and they don't know exactly what it's going to be for him. Normally, he's got a great straight change, and last year, Hendricks had one of the really good years in all of baseball. He finished the season with an ERA of 2.13, a 16-8 record, and all things considered, he was an excellent pitcher. So the Cubs take the field, and we're ready to kick off this home-and-home 4-game in-season meaningful series. And let's take a look at how Rick Renteria is going to line up our Sox for the game this afternoon. Melky Cabrera back after fouling a ball off his foot. He's entirely healthy and feeling good. He's leading off. Then Yoan Moncada in the 2 spot. Then it's Jose Abreu, who in interleague play this year, hitting .350 with a couple of home runs. He's driven in 4 in 11 games. And look for a little bit more out of him because he's swinging the bat very well. Then it's Avi Garcia, Matt Davidson, Tim Anderson back in the lineup after missing a couple of games. Adam Engel, Kevin Smith, and Miguel Gonzalez coming off a fine performance against the Dodgers. He's out there as the starting pitcher. The defense and how they'll line up behind Kyle Hendricks. It's Kyle Schwarber in left, John Jay in center, and a 4-time Gold Glove winner, Jason Hayward, is in right. That's Chris Bryant, Javier Baez, Ben Zobrist, and Anthony Rizzo, who's won a Gold Glove at first. Wilson Contreras has got a great arm and a very aggressive catcher is behind the plate. And our Lexus Experience Amazing starting pitcher is Kyle Hendricks. On for his 12th start, his ERA a little over 4. So he's given up 9 home runs, which is a high total for him. Normally, he's not going to walk a whole lot of people and not going to give up as many hits as innings pitched. So we'll take a look at the umpires and how they're going to line them up for this 1:20 start. Angel Hernandez has the plate. Lance Barksdale's at first. John Tumpain is at second, and Ted Barrett, the crew chief, is at third. So the Cubs come into this one. They're tied for the lead with Milwaukee. And if you take it out to .526, they are just a shade better than the Brewers as they've won 2 in a row, 8 of their last 10. And since the All-Star break, the Cubs have been red hot. A lot of youngsters around today. You see the Sox uniforms, the Cubs uniforms, everybody taking advantage of the concession stands on what is a nice day to play ball. Not much sunshine at this point, but we'll probably see some before this is over. So as Melky's ready to go, and Kyle Hendricks is ready to go. That means they've thrown the ball around the infield. We're ready for baseball, and I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
All right, Stoney, thank you. And once again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to White Sox baseball right here on CSN Chicago. So happy you could join us for the first of 4 in a row between these 2 clubs. And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours. As the first pitch of the ball game, taken for a ball. Cabrera comes in hitting .295, 13 homers, 56 driven in. And against Hendricks, he has faced him 7 times, and he has a couple of hits. There's a strike.
Kyle has 2 different kinds of change. They're both a very effective straight change, but he can make it move either way. Most pitchers can't do that. They've got 1 straight change. Hendricks has 2. And there it is, and it's a dandy.
Yeah, you don't expect this weather here in July.
That's where our Sox have to be patient. They're not a real patient club hitting, but Hendricks just coming back off the DL normally has great control, but they don't know what to expect from him here this afternoon.
And that's fouled back. I do remember many years ago, though, 86, I think it was, playing the Crosstown Classic here, a game here. And it's the only time I think I can ever remember as he gets Cabrera. Now watch both teams take batting practice, and not one ball from either team in batting practice left the yard.
That's pretty unusual.
Very. That's the only time I've ever seen that. The wind was blowing straight in, and it was cold. And I mean, there were some bombs hit that just didn't get out of here. So here's Yoan. Moncada with those 4 RBIs in that game in Kansas City. There's the strike. And a tremendous outpouring of the media for this series.
Never having seen that straight change, Yoan has got to get used to it. It's very hard to, because your natural tendency is to try to go out and get it. If you do, it'll just disappear on you. Like those two.
Right now with our picks to click this afternoon, let's check them out. Fans went with Abreu. Cruz going with Kevin Smith. Steve's going with Moncada. And JJ and Jessica Shearer and I, we're going to go with Adam Engel. So here is Abreu. 3 for 6 lifetime off Hendricks. Hendricks, 27-year-old right-hander out of Newport Beach.
It's kind of an unusual defense. You don't find the shortstop, in this case Javier Baez, and the second baseman Ben Zobrist. They're both on the grass.
Well, you see him sometimes on the grass, but not as far back as Baez is. I mean, but he's got the gun. He can play back there.
He's got a big arm. There's no doubt about it. But a chopper to shortstop, and Jose, who's been running awfully hard to first base these days, it's going to be hard for him to get him.
A lot of those shortstops in the American League, not a lot of them, because most of them got guns today, but some of them, they can't play back there.
Now, there's a lot of guys whose arm will not allow them to, and yet with Baez, the arm is not a problem. Against the Cubs, you see Jose has been very good. And he's going to see a fastball here. That was a hittable fastball. He got it middle in, even though Contreras wanted it on the outside corner. Hendricks, who normally has great control, is going to miss pitches like this. You see where Contreras wants it, but the ball drifts over the middle of the plate. That's what it's going to be like early for him until he gets his feet on the ground and gets that feel back again after an extended time on the DL. That one fouled back. And there's a look at Joe Madden. Davey Martinez, his bench coach, to his left.
Davey Martinez, one of my all-time favorite people in baseball.
Nice man and was a good player.
You better believe it was a good player. And one heck of a one-iron player. He could hit that one iron 310, 315 yards.
Well, he is one of the strongest guys around, and you don't notice it quite as much, except if you get down, shake his hand, and realize how wide he is.
There's a bullet.
It's kind of interesting the way he went at Abreu, because he went at him with fastballs. Here's another fastball, and the reason why this is interesting is there's 2 outs, nobody on. The wind is blowing in. He's got a way to get out of Abreu that's not fastballs anywhere close to the middle of the plate, and he's probably going to show it to him if he faces him in a key situation. But there's no reason to show a hitter in that situation how you're going to get him out if you face him with the game on the line. He didn't tip his way to get him out. He just went at him, hoping maybe a line drive went at somebody, but the inning stays alive.
Well, there's almost a lost art as far as conversation goes in talking about exactly what you just explained. That used to be commonplace. Don't show them your out pitch when they can't hurt you.
No, in this situation, I mean, he's got an idea what he wants to do, and it certainly wasn't a lot of fastballs.
Avi fouls that one hop over the top dugout. No, that used to be very, very commonplace, but now it's, as I said, when's the last time you heard a pitcher or anything alluding to that?
Not so much.
Not so much. I guess not.
Nope.
And especially in spring training. They had different spring trainings in years past where they would not, a lot of managers would not let them pitch if they were in the American League against American League teams. They would let them pitch against National League teams and vice versa.
one of my 2 stints with the White Sox, I was facing Hal McRae in spring training and threw him a pretty good curveball. And he yelled out to me, "No, this is March, not now. You saved that for the year." I said, "You're in the other league, pal."
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
But he knew. I mean, McRae knew.
Yeah. That was just like one of my last games. Bart Johnson was pitching for the White Sox. And this is one of my last games before I retired. I was going to retire, I think, the next week. Struck me out the first time. Just blew me away with fastballs. Next time I come up, blew me away with fastballs. That's popped up. And John Jay coming on makes the catch, and that'll retire the side. So a pretty easy inning right there for Hendricks.
It's Jason Hayward, Chris Bryant, and Anthony Rizzo at the top with Wilson Contreras, Kyle Schwarber, Ben Zobrist in the middle, then John Jay, Javier Baez, and Kyle Hendricks rounding it out. The defense, and now they're going to line up behind Miguel Gonzalez. It's Cabrera, Engel, and Garcia in the outfield with Davidson, Anderson, Moncada, and Abreu in the infield. Kevin Smith gets a nod behind the plate, and our licensed, experienced, amazing starting pitcher is Miguel Gonzalez. Hasn't seen the Cubs a whole lot, as you would expect, but he does have a .277 lifetime earned run average against him and an 0-1 record. There you look at the numbers. Last time out, a battling outing against the Dodgers. He lost, but he threw it well.
Yes, he did. And here, first pitch, strike to Hayward. Hayward comes in at .268, 7 homers, 38 knocked in. Had a terrible season last year, struggling. One that caused him to try to change his swing. Last year he had 237 homers and drove in 49. Right here at Wrigley Field, 355 down the left field line, 353 down the right field line, 368 in the gaps, and 400 straightaway center.
Adam Engel fairly shallow in center with the wind blowing in. Hayward is miraculous defensively in every aspect of the defensive game. And although offensively last year he didn't have a banner season, he certainly helped him with his glove.
One out. Last year's MVP, Chris Bryant.
He's really starting to heat it up, and he's got outstanding skills. Just a terrific hitter. And lately, over the last week or so, he's starting to be the Bryant that they saw most of last season, and there's no reason to believe that he's not going to finish with a flourish.
And MVP season last year. 39 homers, 102 knocked in.
See Moncada playing him up the middle. He's actually a couple of steps on the third base side of second. And they're playing him as a pull hitter, but has an off-field hitter in the outfield.
Two now.
Miguel last time out pitched himself into and out of some unbelievable jams. Bases loaded, nobody out. He got out of it. Bases loaded, one out. He got out of it. He knew against Clayton Kershaw that he would have to be letter perfect. He wasn't with the 5 walks, but he was pretty good, giving up only the 1 run. Unfortunately, Kershaw, as he usually does, gives up nothing. And by the way, he hurt his back, and Kershaw is on the disabled list for the Dodgers. That's not going to help him very much, although division-wise, they'll win that fairly easily.
Well, in the major leagues, they're like anything else. You got good ones, you got mediocre ones, and you got some that shouldn't be there. But there's some guys, pitchers, who they get in jams they just can't pitch out of them. Quintana was like that. Gets in jam, didn't bother him one bit. Yep. He could pitch out of them.
And they're really going to love him here on the north side of Chicago. He's 2-0 for them. This is a guy who's going to take the ball. He's going to take it 30, 32 times a year. He's going to pitch you 200 innings. He's going to win a whole lot of games. If you get him any support at all, the Cubs will do that. Quintana will be brilliant with them.
And that hits Rizzo. So I'm talking about it. Here's Quintana. I was talking with Joe Madden before the game, and Joe said, Hawk, you were right about Quintana. He's one of the nicest guys we've seen. I said, Joe, he's one of the nicest guys we ever had in a White Sox uniform.
And he won't change one iota.
No.
What you see is what you get, regardless of how he's doing, whether he's getting shut out or getting blasted or pitching a no-hitter. Going to be the same guy.
They got themselves a good one, as we got ourselves some good prospects.
A good trade. Both teams accomplished what they needed to accomplish. The Cubs needed a top of the rotation starter that they could use in the postseason. Jose is that guy. And this is a young catcher who's been converted to a catcher who's going to get the lion's share of the play. He's very aggressive in every aspect of the game. He's got a really strong arm and a whole lot of power.
25 years old. Ball hits sharply. Got time to recover, throw him out. So after 1, there's no score.
We'd like to welcome all of our viewers watching on Cascom in Pittsfield, Illinois.
Hendricks taking his warm-up tosses on a chilly afternoon, especially up here in the altitude like we are. The wind blowing straight in.
This is one of the beautiful days at Wrigley Field, however. Anytime you get the wind blowing straight in, it's just
would
a
you stop it?
day.
I'm telling you, you get. I don't know if it was the 70th birthday or what, but you're getting to be more and more and more. I mean,
cantankerous?
Yes, yes, about pitchers.
Well, I mean, it's just a gorgeous day. Temperatures are down. I mean, look. The
well,
fact
look,
that
we had to give you guys a little credit. Now you got to give hitters a little credit.
We are. We give you a lot of credit.
No, you don't.
What with the cork bats and all, plenty of credit.
I can't. You know, sometimes the truth hurts.
Right. Good workmanship.
Oh, I had one of the best in the world in Boston. Cork and bats. Cleveland. Everybody had it. Probably 7 out of 10 players that went to the plate had cork in their bats.
There's a lot of them.
Matt dials it back. You know, I was talking to a lot of reporters before the game about different issues, you know, and retiring and more of a limited schedule next year, the Sox plan. And I think most of the questions were because with the British Open just being over yesterday, which, by the way, my man did not win. He finished second, Matt Kuchar. Most of the questions were, how was it? How did it feel like to play in the British Open?
Well, I would understand it would be a legitimate question, seeing as you're not going to find too many baseball broadcasters that did anything other than fly there.
I'll tell you what, it was, well, the biggest thrill, obviously, that I have is playing in the World Series. And certainly playing in the All-Star game is a big thrill. I got to put the British Open up there right next. I just wish I hadn't a 3-putted the 18th hole on the second day, or else I'd have made the cut. Is he gone?
Davidson did not like the call of Angel Hernandez, but if you're around the plate a lot, and Hendricks is going to be, he's going to get these calls.
Yeah. That's too close to take it.
Yeah, I was going to say, Contreras didn't have to do a great deal as he moved the ball ever so slightly. What Wilson is going to learn, though, he's going to learn to move it with his wrist as opposed to bringing the entire glove over. And here's another straight change. Let's see how Tim reacts.
The thing about that British Open is that was an unbelievable last 5 holes that the young man played. Outfield slightly to the right, spread out a bit.
Rick Renteria talking about a couple games that Tim did not play. He's saying it was almost like a mental health break for him. Hopefully he comes back a little more rejuvenated.
Bryant. There's an area I was talking to some Cub people say he is really just he's trending very much upward with the leather.
Well, surprisingly with Chris Bryant, his hands are pretty good. But I think what surprises people, because he's a big man, he's got a very quick first step. And you don't have to be fast to play third. That first step is essential. He's got a pretty good one that will probably hold him in good stead. He's not going to be Nolan Arenado, but he doesn't have to be. He's good enough, and with that bat, he'll play anywhere.
Well, third base, because of the predominance of right-handed hitters, is the one position on the field that you have to have the fewest range on. That's going to be a base hit on a good effort by Bryant.
Well, that's a great effort. We just talking about the quick first step, and otherwise you don't have a quick first step. This is down for probably 2 bases. With Bryant diving to the line, that's a big effort. That's a tough play as he slides into foul territory, and from his knees, there's a few people where you might have made this close with a throw that's on the money on 2 hops, but not with Adam Engel. He's just too fast.
No, Nobody's going to get out of Engel on that. So JJ and Jessica Shearer's pick to click.
I got to tell you, we're not counting infield hits. Just, it's outfield hits.
I say we are.
Well, Joe Grube will make the determination. He's one of the fairest of the picks to click score guys we have around.
How long have we been together, Joe? 28 years? Wow. The mayor, being Joe Grube. What a great friend and great job he's done for 28 years. He and Kristen, outfield, spread out. There's a strike. Watch out.
Well, the one thing you have to be aware of with Contreras is that he is going to throw anywhere at any time. He likes his arm, and everybody would if they had an arm like that. He drops to one knee, fires to first. So you have to be heads up. And you've got a guy that is willing to throw at any time. Now, he has made 13 errors this year, and largely they've been throwing. But he's going to be a good one behind the plate.
And look at this. Just shoves it out there. And there was a good jumping, leaping catch. So runners at the corners now.
You're not going to see Hayward make a whole lot of mistakes. One thing is he had no chance to get Engel. The other thing is he threw a throw that couldn't be cut off. Hayward's not going to do that a great deal. He's very fortunate this one does not go over Bryant's head because Hendricks had not gotten in position yet to back him up.
Well, he also knew who was running. He knew he wasn't going to second base on the throw.
Nope. But that one gets away. It's a run from a guy who is a wonderful outfielder.
Well, when you get catchers like Von Rodriguez, Yadier Molina, Thurman Munson even, and he didn't have a great arm.
Nope.
But he loved to throw. He loved to throw behind runners at first base. He loved to try to pick them off. You get guys like that. Those guys, Johnny Bench, maybe had the greatest arm in the history of catching. Those guys are fun to watch. Little chopper. Bryant's got him. So we have a mild threat. Can't do anything with it. And after an inning and a half, still no score.
Last night, Kyle Schwarber took one way back. It tied it up. Exit velocity 110 miles an hour. Launch angle 42 degrees. Projected distance not overly far, but for a man with unlimited power, he's just starting to heat it up. Kyle Schwarber hitting his 15th home run last night.
Well, there are not many of them are going to go where that one went. So It went a long way.
No, he's very powerful, and I had a nice conversation with him before the game. We had talked a couple of years ago, and because he gets sent down to minor leagues this year, I asked him what he went down there to work on, and he explained to me something that you can explain better than I, and that is he was talking about the fact that he felt his swing might be getting a little too long, and he went down there to try to shorten it up a touch. What does a hitter normally do if he wants to shorten up his swing?
There are 3 or 4 different things you can do, of course, as we talk about so much that not many hitting coaches at all talk about is in batting practice, you practice hitting with short arms. The shorter the swing, the faster the swing. I mean, it's really, you can do it on a chalkboard and explain to the hitters. The shorter the bat, the shorter the swing.
You also told me something about the elbow when you're talking about your lead elbow, what you can do to try to get to the ball more quickly.
Well, okay, you're a good golfer, okay? You're a right-handed player.
Yep.
And now, if you're over the ball and you want to cut the ball, that elbow is going this way, on the finish, towards the finish. You're not going to get in here trying to cut it. That means you're going to draw it. So, in this case with him, his right elbow, the further that moves towards the ball, the bigger the swing, the longer the swing.
So you want him to keep the right elbow in, which is something I'm sure he was working on.
It's this. You got to let the forearm get outside of the elbow. If that forearm does not get outside, in my case, I was a right-handed hitter, so it's my left arm. When I became a decent hitter, that's now to Moncada. Piece of cake went out. Is when you learn how to let the forearm, in my case my left forearm, get outside my left elbow. That's short arms. Now that means I can take an inside fastball, hit it hard, and still keep it fair. If that elbow keeps going and now I happen to hit it hard, it's probably going to be hooked.
Well, you had a guy that threw out the first pitch today who's going to be doing the take me out to the ball game 7-inning stretch.
One of the best I ever saw.
Ryan Sandberg at keeping the ball down the left field line, keeping it fair on an inside fastball.
Ryan was one of the best I ever saw inside hitters on fastballs. And keeping, I'm talking about, a lot of guys can hit it hard, but they're going foul. But he could keep it fair. And that's what Schwarber's got to do, hit with short arms. In fact, in the last couple of months, I've had a couple of hitting coaches say, Hawk, you know, we heard you talking, saw your game and heard you talking about short arms. And a couple of them didn't even, let me try to put it as nice as I can. They said they never heard that term, hitting with short arms. As here's Zobrist, 36-year-old veteran. And what a good player this guy's been. What a good, solid player he's been.
Well, Joe Madden loves having him. He had him at Tampa. He realized that there's not one place on the field where you can put Ben Zobrist where he won't give you a good effort defensively. Now the sun is starting to win the battle with the clouds, but the wind continues to blow straight in.
Well, Siri told me it was going to be sunny at 1 o'clock, and
Siri was in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't like Siri every day though. She's not very nice. And Bulls Nation come out to the park on Monday, July 31st. For Bulls Night is our Sox take on the Toronto Blue Jays. You can purchase a specially priced ticket package to receive a game ticket, a White Sox Bulls mini basketball, and a chance to watch BP before the gates open. So visit whitesox.com/Chicago Bulls to purchase a specially priced ticket package. One on, one out, and here's John Jay, 32-year-old veteran. John's a .287 career hitter in the major leagues, but he didn't hit .287 up there.
No, even with a less than overwhelming fastball, when you keep it eye high, no left-hander is going to hit it. The occasional and the very occasional right-hander will square it up. Not too many.
But you know how over the years, getting back to the phraseology, the semantics, the terminology has changed over the years of baseball.
Considerably.
Yeah. And hitting with short arms was very commonly used 30, 40, 50 years ago. Today it's never used.
Well, with the loss of Dexter Fowler, he was such a big reason that the Cubs were able to win it all last year. He gave them solid enough defense, a huge presence at the top of the batting order, and losing him, they felt the addition of John Jay, although it wouldn't have the same impact, would give them a left-hand hitting center fielder.
That's trouble. Going to get the ball in, but for the double. And the one-out walk, now standing on third base.
This is a fastball that drifts out over the plate. Jay puts it in a perfect spot. Nobody getting to it. Zobrist coasting into third base. Now the question is, with Hendricks due up next, what do you do with Baez? Because you do have first base open, and you got a guy with a whole lot of power up.
Well, it's Hayward the guy you got to worry about if you want to go ahead and go around.
Yep.
Baez. Now they can just go ahead. That's right. Put him on. And that'll bring up Hendricks.
Hendricks has a couple of runs batted in this year. However, hitting just 105.
Baez was hitting at 271, 12 homers. So that ends that discussion, whether it's good or bad. Corners in close. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
That's a pretty easy one and possibly a 1-2-3, but when you can't field your position or don't field it, you're going to cost yourself some runs. Normally, Miguel is a pretty solid fielder. The head of the bat comes flying out. Miguel gets distracted somewhat. It's not a difficult play, but he doesn't make it, and 2 is out of the equation, and the 3rd run batted in this year for Kyle Hendricks.
Well, if he comes up with it, as you mentioned, you said it. It's 1, 2, 3. Grabs and bench. So a gift run as that walk comes around to score. Hayward grounded out to Anderson.
Now, Miguel is a veteran pitcher, so he's probably not worried about something a younger pitcher might be, and that is not fielding that ball. Opened it up for a potential big inning.
That's a can of corn. With a couple of mistakes right there, and we trail it 1-0.
brought to you by Miller Lite.
All right, 1-0 Cubs. Cabrera struck out. Nice gap out there in right center if he can find it. That's right down below us.
Didn't miss by much. Almost got back up here. Last 7, Melky has been red hot. Fielded Ted Barrett, and he says nope, he did not go.
Melky talking to the press yesterday, said he would love to stay with the White Sox. And that could be a plus, according to how a couple of our young outfielders are coming.
Yeah, I mean, when you take a look at what Melky, the body of work that has been Melky, 285 lifetime major league hitter, swings from both sides of the plate, will throw you out if you try to take an extra base.
He's a good defensive player, and he also, you know, with the influx of the Latin players, and especially with the influx of a lot of our young prospects that we traded for being Latin, you want some. You got Abreu there, who he and Moncada have been praising each other, you know. And you need, when you're going to bring a lot of young Latin players in, you need some Latin leadership.
Well, there's also nothing saying that you can't move him, and then when he does become a free agent, bring him back if that's on the agenda.
Well, Kenny and Rick really have fewer decisions to make now than they would have if they hadn't broken it down to do a redo, because they made the big ones already in acquiring the prospects for sale, Adam Eaton and Quintana. There's a shot. So Yohan, good speed aboard.
What Moncada's got to watch is his secondary lead. He's not used to seeing Contreras, and he goes down, gets this one. Yohan's a much better left-hand hitter than a right-hand hitter, although he swung it fairly well in Kansas City the few times he had the opportunity from the right side.
He looks good. He looks good both ways. He really does. We were talking about him with some of the Cub people, and they asked me, well, how did he look in Kansas City? And I said, he looks good. He's got nice presence. And then Bill Melton and I were discussing that, along with Scott Posednik and our Chuck in the pregame show. Moncada looks as good as built, so to speak.
Now look, it's one thing.
B-I-L-L-E-D.
It's one thing to tab a man as the #1 prospect in baseball, but you see why he's been the #1 prospect in baseball. He's got great speed. Probably if you would turn him loose, and you wouldn't want a guy that's going to hit the ball out of the park as he is. You don't want him to steal 60 bases, but he would have the ability to do that. He's got that kind of speed and a pretty good technique.
Safe. That ball was, that's a hang, definite hang, woofum for Brady. Mercy.
Can hardly hit the ball any harder than Jose did, but Chris Bryant right in the way. And the presence of mind to quickly gun it across, but a pretty good job of base running by Moncada. A lot of folks would have been doubled up on that. He was not. He got back just ahead of the throw.
So here's Avi. Well, I think we've seen enough. You and I have been talking about it for years now. I think we've seen enough. If it were me, I would put, especially with guys like Moncada and other fast guys come in, no sliding head first in the first, second, or third base.
But we've seen a rash of recent injuries
certainly
because of that.
Don't you wish they had put that in the Angels with Trout?
I think they probably wish they had done that.
And it was just a matter of time, as I talked to Adam Needham about it. It was just a matter of time till he got hurt at first base. Avi popped up to John Jay in center.
Even with the wind blowing in like it is, it's going to affect high fly balls. But line drives to the alleys, the 368 mark, the left center, right center, line drives not affected by the wind will go out. And they'll go out actually rather easily.
Yeah, sure they will. Well, first of all, you got that big scoreboard out there.
That's blocking whatever
It's blocking
wind.
the wind. And if you can keep it down below the height of the bleachers, there's no problem.
No, that's always been the key here is line drives will always go out regardless of which way the wind blows. It's the high fly balls that will get knocked down. Look outside, Avi, because it's going to be there.
Well, you pitched here and you broadcast here for a lot of baseball games, and you've seen a lot of different conditions. This is just one you've seen many times, and you know is, of course, in not many ballparks that line drives won't go out of.
But some of the fences are a bit higher. And here, they're not low fences, but they're not overly high.
There he goes, and that ball hit hard. Pick it up.
Whoever makes the play.
He did. And that'll retire the side. So once again, we have threatened. We hit a couple of rockets here. Meanwhile, coming up empty.
Yohan Moncada and the Sox host Toronto in Game 1 of a 3-game series. Coverage begins at 7 or stream the game at csnchicago.com.
Bryant, Rizzo, and Contreras. Bryant went out 1-3 his first trip.
Miguel this year has thrown a first pitch strike 2/3 of the time. and that qualifies him among the top 15 of qualified starters. So I'm sure they're looking for the ball early. That was a changeup, and it was up in Bryant's eyes. Fortunately, he got around very quickly on it and yanked it foul. Not exactly the location he would have wanted, but a long, loud strike.
Nice catch by a Sox fan in the upper deck. He gone.
That time he just got outgassed. He looked at a fastball. It had most of the plate. So we'll take a look at a hitter guessing and just getting outguessed. First strikeout of the day to go with a couple of walks, one of them of the intentional variety.
So here's Rizzo. Anthony hit by a pitch, just grazed him. Checks it up, takes the strike.
Anthony's right on top of the plate with that open stance, and he does get hit a lot. 17 times this year. With the first time up being the 17th. And there you see National League leaders Josh Harrison ahead by 3. Dietrich behind by 3.
That's a gapper. That's his 19th two-bagger.
Rizzo waits back long enough to get this cutter. He was trying to backdoor cutter. He wanted to shave off the outside corner, but this one had too much of the outside part of the plate. And Anthony Rizzo with a line drive double.
Contreras hit the ball hard right at my collar.
Cubs don't really want to use Kyle Schwarber very much behind the plate. So with Contreras, a young catcher, playing a lot of people feel like they certainly are in the market for a veteran catcher behind it.
David Ross tight in the right center field. Watch out. Now Engel cuts it flat, and here's the throw.
Got to get a little better communication in the outfield.
That could have been not good.
Yep. And Adam might come in second best if Avi runs him over. But Engel with a good solid throw to third base. They almost cut down Rizzo. That's Gary Jones, the third base coach, as he talks with him. This play's a whole lot closer than it appeared to be. And again, Avi's got to give way a little earlier than that.
Well, see, I disagree a little bit only because of the fact communication, yes, they got to have better. As hard as he was going to his left over to get the ball, Engel's made a great throw and still, had a shot at him. Avi's got a much better chance because Avi's
you're talking about on the throw itself.
Yes, just the throw.
Yeah. It's a lot easier throw for him.
For Ozzy. I mean, for Avi, yeah, sure. And Avi is very accurate as well. No, but the communication is, you don't want that collision.
No, that's, again, not good for the career of Adam Engel if he collides full go with Avi.
No.
Look at it again, and Avi's in better position to throw it, but normally you give way to the center fielder. And even then, even with Adam Engel catching it, avoiding the collision, and having to make 2 steps to his left, he still almost got him at third base. And Matt Davidson did not handle the throw cleanly. Even if he did, he's still safe.
Pops him up. Somebody, okay, attaboy, Jose takes charge. I like it when he takes charge like that, because he is really good on pop-ups. Meanwhile, they lead it 1-0.
Game. Sign up to play in CSN's Rocket League Championship at faceit.com for a chance to compete for $100,000 in a grand prize pool. You can register today. Rocket League coming to Chicago.
It's the top of the 4th inning and a 1-0 Cub lead. Gift run back in the 2nd inning. Davidson, Anderson, Engel. Right field.
Normally that one is in the field of play, but with the wind blowing the way it is, it gave Matt another life. There you see it. It's been like that all game long. Those are the flags in left field. And the wind blowing right at the Sox dugout, pretty much straight in from center field.
I tell you, that Rick Fuse.
You're trying to look up at the scoreboard to see what it's going to be.
You're too late every time. It's already up there. There's Baez, that gun of his. And join us on Friday, August 11th for Rock and Roll Night and Fireworks presented by Guaranteed Rate as our White Sox host the Kansas City Royals at 7:10. And to purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com. Puts the ball and striking outs up on that scoreboard out there. Fastest in Major League Baseball. The guy in Denver was pretty quick.
And when you're taking a look up there after you've seen the pitch come in, then you take a look up there, you're never even close to how quickly it gets up on the board.
No. Diaz once again with that gun. Can't get him.
You know, against some of the guys that are fast and get out of the box quickly, if you keep setting up where Javier Baez is setting up, you're not going to get the speedsters. Got a long way to go for this slowly hit ball, and even if the throw is there, in the air all the way, and Rizzo makes a nice scoop here. But you're not going to get a guy with the speed of Tim Anderson. You just can't get him playing as deeply as he was. But he's got a rocket for an arm. That is the 5th single of the afternoon.
Engel with that infield single. There you go. Good rip. Meanwhile, underneath.
Got to put some pressure on Contreras, because even though he does have a strong arm, he will throw it away. 13 errors by a catcher is a whopping number of errors at this point. And it's because he's young, and it's because he's very aggressive. He's going to get a whole lot better. He has a world of skills, and anytime you're shifted from a position player to go back behind the plate, you know you're a good athlete.
Boy, that's a ton of errors.
That's a lot of errors, yes. And almost without exception, they've been on throws. But you have that great arm, you believe you can get anybody in any situation. Of course, as we know, that's not the case.
Outfield straight up, spread out, spaced about equidistant. First of 4 in a row against these guys. 2 here and then 2 in our place on Wednesday and Thursday. Those games will be night games. Tomorrow's game, another day game.
Six for 6 for Tim.
Did not go. Lance Barksdale.
High fastball, and this is what Hendricks has to do with that fastball. He's got to move it up, down, in, and out. It's not enough to go in and out, but he also has to change the eye level, and he does it pretty well.
Well, he reminds me, oddly enough, he reminds me a little bit of you. Of course, he doesn't have anywhere near the curveball you had.
No, but I didn't have anywhere close to the straight change yet.
That's right. But he moves it around like you did, changes eye levels, moves it around in and out up all 4 quadrants.
He's able to do that, and as you can see, look at those numbers. 3.06 lifetime ERA, which is just outstanding, especially in this hitter's ballpark.
There you go. Yeah, guys like him I used to hate to hit against. They changed speeds, had a good change up, moved it around. I'm telling you, Hawkeroo was grabbing some bench. 0 for 4.
One of the things you don't see, and I'm pretty sure you didn't see it, is a guy with a straight change that can move it in either direction. One thing, you know, it's hard enough for a guy to master a straight change as good as the one Hendricks has. It's another thing to make it move in both directions, which he can do.
I couldn't name you one guy I faced that could do that with a changeup.
There was one guy that Cub fans know very well, Hall of Famer Bruce Sutter. He could actually make the splitter move in either direction. He's the only guy I've ever known that.
Well, that's the reason he's in Cooperstown.
To take the splitter and make it move both ways.
Well, I'll tell you, the guy who could work the fastball is good, if not better than anybody I have ever seen, Bartolo Colon. He could work that fastball in, out, up, and down, especially when he was 100 miles an hour. He had that little flip he could use, and he had a sink with a 2-seamer. He could move it in. It wasn't a cutter, but he could just make the ball move a little bit.
Most amazing part is that he was using 97% fastballs even when he didn't have a fastball.
right.
His fastball was in the high 80s, and he was still throwing almost entirely fastballs
last year.
Good lead at first. Now you would think that Tim would be going here at 2-2. Still a one-run game, and you can get a decent step and a half on Hendricks.
That ball hit hard. Get over his head. Schwarber with another nice play. That's a hang woofle. A definite hang woofle for Adam Engel.
It's also the third line drive that's gone right at one of the Cub defenders. So Hendricks is giving up some hard hit balls, but so far not much has landed. Now Schwarber with 2 good plays in the outfield, and he's worked hard on getting better defensively. He's never going to be a great outfielder, but one of the misconceptions of Schwarber is that you can run on him. This guy's got a really good arm. He was drafted with the 4th pick in the country as a catcher. He was out of Indiana, and they drafted him no doubt because of his bat, but he's got a strong arm and shows it off from left field on occasion.
I'll tell you, Schwarber is becoming one of my favorite guys to watch hit. I mean, he's fun to watch hit at the plate.
He's very strong.
I saw that home run he hit last night or yesterday. Last night.
Yep.
Short, quick, short arms, and just kill it.
Here's the ideal situation to run. Only in that you certainly don't want to lead off with Miguel Gonzalez.
Look at that. Timmy, holding second. Hayward got to it in a hurry. Timmy had to hold up just a second. He couldn't get into third. So here's Gonzalez. He grounded out to Chris Bryant.
That's what we were talking about. When you've got a catcher that will throw it any time to any base, that secondary lead is cut down a step or so.
Juan Rodriguez and the guys I mentioned earlier, along with Tony Pena, those guys used to love to throw.
Well, the recent vintage, Yadier Molina is right up there, and he loves with a left-hand hitter to go behind the hitter to first base.
Those guys are fun to watch.
But that looked like he swung it fairly well the first time. He didn't get a whole lot into it. A little chopper to the left side, but at least made contact and looked like he knew what he was doing. A high pitch total to this point for Hendricks. He's about ready to deliver pitch number 75. This is what you're looking for. Bring Melky to bat.
Take 3.
Hendricks hasn't walked anybody yet, and he's on the verge.
I've seen similar situations like I've seen a couple of managers who would make the pitcher take 3.
Yes, depending on who's hitting.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I was probably
one of those guys.
I was probably one of those guys that the managers would have loved to say take 3, regardless of the situation. Now the advantage is the runners will be going.
Up the middle, he was playing him, and he gets out of it. Well, another threat goes by the boards. He is now stranded 6, and we trail it 1-0. Presented by Guaranteed Rate. When buying a home, the best mortgage experience on the planet starts at rate.com.
Time now for the Farm Report, and we'll take a look at how the youngsters are doing. And Eloy Jimenez, yesterday, well, all he did was go 5 for 6, hit a home run, couple of doubles, 3 driven in, 2 runs scored, and in 9 games with the Dash since the trade, 452, couple of home runs, 5 doubles, and 10 runs batted in. So for those who might have been worried about giving up too much, and Jose Quintana's a wonderful pitcher, and he's really going to help the Cubs in the pursuit of a back-to-back World Series championship. Jimenez is going to be with the White Sox for a long time and be not only a slugger, which he is, but a very productive hitter, which he also is.
So here's Zobrist. With 1 out, he walked back in the second, came around to score. That is the only run of this ball game. And he takes a strike. We talked about in that Kansas City series with Merrifield and what a valuable addition to a ball club he is, being an all-purpose player. And he was the star of that series for Kansas City. We got swept down there.
With every aspect of his game. He
with
ran,
the leather
he caught
and
it,
the lumber.
And he hit it. Yeah.
And of course, this guy is of that same ilk. He's a little older, of course, a little wiser. You got to have these guys today. They're more important than they've ever been, only because of what?
Because of the pitching.
That's exactly the bullpen.
And the case with Kansas City, Hawk, they were using 9 guys. They had 9 relievers for that series, leaving Ned Yost with only 2 moves off the bench. Now, it didn't factor in the series, but that's something you would never see in years past. I mean, 9 relievers? That's pretty amazing.
Well, Merrifield was 4 for 10, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs in that series. And we had a lead in every game in that series. We led 5-1 in the first game. But the point being, our bullpen has been injured, crippled up since the first 5 weeks of the season. First 5 weeks of the season, they were good.
And then the trade, obviously, with Robertson and Canely going to the Yankees.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's those all-purpose players now. When Leury Garcia gets back, and some of these youngsters come up, I can't wait till they start bringing some of these guys up.
That's going to be exciting.
Oh yeah. But they're not going to do it until they feel like they're ready to come up, and that's exactly the right move. As there's a hang wolfing for Zobrist, and when they worst thing you do is when you have a manager down there and the coaches and you consult with them, is he ready to come up to the major leagues? Is he ready to handle it mentally? If there's any doubt whatsoever, you're going to leave him there. You cannot bring him up to you say, because you and I both have seen a lot of youngsters absolutely ruined because they got brought him up too quick.
Well, last year when Yohan Moncada was brought up by the Red Sox and he scuffled, there was, well, you know, maybe he's not ready yet. Well, it wasn't a question of that. It's just that in this case, 1 year ago was well too early.
So there is a bullet. Jay, who had that double that set up that run back in the second, now 2 for 2.
But now Yohan comes up and doesn't look like he's overmatched in any aspect of the game. So Jay hits the ball hard. It's just the third of the Cub hits.
Baez was intentionally walked. Yep, I've seen too much of that in my time in this game, of guys coming up too quick. And never recovering.
It's happened many times with pitchers brought up for whatever reason, and maybe
predominantly more so than position players.
The greatest example might be Texas Rangers and David Clyde.
Well, Scott Rothkorn with the White Sox. Every time I think about the subject we're on right now, that's the first name pops in my mind. And I said, well, you're bringing this kid up to let him pitch against the Indians, which is one of the best offensive teams I've ever seen in a big game. They said, well, he's got ice in his veins. Yeah, he did. After they got done with it. Got him. Good recovery.
There's an example of thinking about two before you got one. It would have been a very difficult play anyway. And as it turned out, Yohan was able to recover in time to get the out at first base. He's trying to come in and smother it on the short hop. And then he was going to make his 360 turn, but this is the second time he's bobbled the ball, but the second time he hasn't panicked. He's gotten to it and made the play.
Well, if he takes his time to make that play and holds his ground, he's not going to get him first down. So he made the right play, but he was fortunate enough to keep it in front of him in the area to where he recovered. So here's Hendricks. He has the only RBI in this game on a play that should have been made. But he splintered his bat. He splintered his bat, and Steve called it right on the money. It distracted Gonzalez just enough.
Because the ball was going to his left. The head of the bat was flying off to his right, but pretty much up the middle, and it looked like maybe just that split second of having your concentration diverted allowed the ball to sneak by.
Yep. Okay. We're done with 4, and we trail it 1-0.
All season long on csnchicago.com, presented by The Great Escape. Whether it's pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, or more, escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape. So far, Cal Hendricks has been able to perform the Great Escape. He's given up 6 hits through 4, but because he hasn't walked anybody, he is still leading 1-0.
And we've stranded 6 through 4. 1 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third, 2 in the fourth. So it's the top of the order for us here in the top of the 5th. Melky's been in the plate twice, and he does not like, so far, the slants of Kyle Hendricks. He's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. That's going to be back, and that's in the seats for a souvenir. Get through it will. So the leadoff single.
That time he waited back just long enough to be able to ease it through the right side. Ben Zobrist, who's got pretty good hands, doesn't have the great range any longer, as this is a curveball, and Melky able to wait back long enough for a leadoff base hit.
So here is Moncada, 1 for 2, a solid single in the 3rd inning. And I love what Ricky Renteria was talking about after the game yesterday and the clips that we got today about bunting. He says, you learn how to bunt during a ball game. Sure, you practice it, but here Steve and I both could come out of this booth in batting practice, go down and lay down some good bunts, maybe get 7 or 8 out of 10 down, you know, decent right now.
Yeah, but you don't have a coach throwing 60 miles an hour
exactly.
in the game.
Don't we put it in the game, we wouldn't even have a chance of getting one down. So you got to do it in the games, and that's why he's willing to sacrifice some right now to become proficient, so when this club does get good, we'll be able to do that. Because well, not historically, but I remember when I played against the White Sox, almost everybody on that team was a good bunter. Now, for the last 10 years, almost everybody on the team was a bad bunter. That's going to change. And I'll tell you, with the bullpens the way they are today in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, and some of them from the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, if you can't bunt, you're taking the worst of them.
Well, there are sometimes, look, there's no doubt when you talk to the sabermetricians that they're not enamored with the sacrifice bunt, but sometimes later in a ball game they're absolutely necessary. And you don't do it often, but when you do it, you should be able to do it well.
Well, neither one of us is he gets him, but neither one of us are against sabermetrics to a degree, but not to the extent of the in-depth of it and to the level that they have elevated it this quick. Baseball, their numbers, baseball is a numbers game, and there are numbers that need to be in the game, and sabermetrics expands our fan base to the youngsters. So that is the biggest thing to me.
Now you got a guy that has had a couple of really good looks at Hendricks. Jose Abreu.
He has smoked it twice, once for a single up the middle and once a line shot right to Chris Bryant at 3rd.
Send along best wishes to a dear friend of mine looking on today. Don Vogel celebrating the first check he ever picked up. And here comes Chris Bosio as he wants to talk with Cal Hendricks, only because, and this is almost a Well, he's making a trip to the mound because of the last 2 at-bats by Abreu, not because of what Hendricks is doing right now. But Abreu
That's exactly why he's
squared him
out
up
there.
twice. Yeah, he squared him up twice. He wants a different game plan. Whatever he was using, it hasn't worked. Hasn't cost him yet, but before it does, Chris goes out there to dog with Hendricks. And there's Justin Grimm loosening in the pen. And
well, we've got 2 of the best pitching coaches in the game in Chicago here. Coop and Verbazio.
I think one of the things that Chris might have said is, whatever you have, let me see it, because you're not going out there for another inning.
I don't think there have been a lot of guys with as many or as much. I can't recall anybody with more guts that went out of that mound than Chris Bosio.
Especially about the last few years of his career when he was doing it with smoke and mirrors.
When he had nothing.
No.
As Schultz would say, nothing. Watch out. Outfield there a little deeper, as they should be. 1-0 ball game here in the 5th inning, and Abreu at the plate.
There's one of the signs where Hendricks might be starting to lose it somewhat, and that was because Contreras wanted it low and away, and this is a high fastball. And Cal Hendricks has too good a control to do that a whole lot. So this is his first start back off the DL, and you got to figure at the 91 pitch mark. Maybe the stuff isn't as crisp right now as it was before, and he's going out there again with a fastball.
That ball hit in the gap. Nobody's going to get that one, and this game is going to be tied at 1 on the double by Abreu. Yes.
RBI number 61 as Jose continues to make life miserable for Kyle Hendricks, this time threading the gap into right center field. Goes all the way to the ivy, and Melky with the leadoff single scores. So that is going to be it for Kyle Hendricks. We figured he wasn't long for this ball game. It's turned out that it was a lot quicker than he would like. Bosio went out there to give him a new game plan with Abreu. Whatever it wasn't that.
We just couldn't follow it.
Nope. A big round of applause for Hendricks as he leaves, and this is the first start back off the DL. So we will step away, be back after these messages.
July 29th at 6:10, and the first 20,000 fans will receive a 1917 throwback jersey presented by Xfinity, and it is beautiful. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV, so purchase your tickets today by visiting WhiteSox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
Our Hyundai call to the pen is Justin Graham. Hard throwing right-hander on for the 34th time. His ERA is up there at 5.40. He's 1-0. There you look at the rest of the numbers. 39 strikeouts and 36 2/3. That's good. The 19 walks is not. And he's got the go-ahead run in scoring position. A huge lead at second base by Jose as nobody's paying attention to him.
Ivy now tips that one back. He has popped up to center and he is lined very hard. Super hard. To Schwarber in left.
Graham out of the University of Georgia. He was a Bulldog.
Athens, Georgia. That's where I signed to go.
You're going to be a Bulldog?
Yeah, but then I signed a contract with Kansas City. Back in those days, you couldn't have signed a professional contract and maintained a scholarship. Today, you can do it if it's not the same sport. Back in those days, you couldn't do it for anything. So that voided the scholarship. It was between Notre Dame and Georgia.
Would you have been a two-sport player had you gone to college at that point?
Yeah, I was going to play basketball, and they wanted me to play football at Georgia, and I didn't want to, but I was going to play basketball and baseball. That's how I play. Back Wally Butts was the coach, and he brought me up there, came down and talked to my mom, brought me up there, and I watched him practice a couple days, and I said to myself, Mr. Butts, you just made a big mistake. Because that's when the Bulldogs were like the Bears and the monsters of the Midway.
Yeah.
You might beat them in score, but they're going to kill you in the game. Gets it down there quickly. So 2 out.
Contreras does a nice job of blocking this breaking ball in the dirt. When you haven't seen a whole lot of these guys, that first at bat normally big advantage to the pitcher, and Grimm exploded that curveball straight down, and Contreras did a terrific job because that ball's going to flatten out when it hits. It does, but it was so close to him, he was able to smother it quickly and then pounce on it and make the play.
So here's Davidson. Strikeout and a ground out to short. One tie. The top of the 5th inning. Come on, Matt. Short stroke.
That'd be a pretty good trade for the Cubs. They got not only Justin Grimm, they got Carl Edwards Jr., big member of their bullpen now, and Mike Olt, who at one point was a very promising third baseman with Texas. They got them all for Matt Garza.
That got right. That turned out to be a good trade.
That was a good trade because Edwards still a mainstay, although he's been pitching quite a bit, so odds are Edwards not available today. Could very well be that Wade Davis would be used only in extreme emergencies today.
Well, if you're talking about talent-wise, the Cubs got a pretty good bullpen, talent-wise.
And at times he's been very good this year.
He just missed it. Yeah, gummit. Fighting that sun as Jay makes the catch, does it perfectly. But we come up with a run on the RBI double by Jose Abreu. We're halfway home, tied at 1.
Always does.
Well, I'll tell you. You know what? Yeah, he does most of the time. Sometimes he's a little seedy, but
what's that clothing allowance he gets from CSN?
Unlimited.
Huge clothing allowance.
Unlimited. 1-1 tie. Here we go. Top of the order, Hayward, Bryant, and Rizzo.
Engel was able to retire Jason Hayward on a fly ball to left field to get out of a jam in the second inning. He could be the key to this inning with the heart of the order coming after him. If you don't get him, it's going to be a lot more difficult with Bryant, Rizzo, and Contreras coming up after Hayward.
Hayward, his first trip, grounded out to short. Three and one. Get over there. One out. And Sox fans join Ron Kittle, the big man from Gary, the strongest guys to ever play the game. Also Harold Baines, one of the best hitters to ever play the game, and others. On January 6th for Sox on the Beach with Apple Vacation. Stay 7 nights at the all-inclusive Iberostar, Paraíso del Mar in beautiful Riviera Maya, Mexico. There'll be a private welcoming party and autograph session, food and drink, and special group activities with your White Sox host. So visit applevacations.com/White Sox to book your trip today. And believe me, for all the things that Harold Baines will not say, Kittle will make up for it.
And then some.
Harold, one of the quietest guys to ever play the game of baseball, one of the best guys to ever play, one of the best hitters. And Kittle can, and I say this complimentary because I love him, he will absolutely talk your ear off. Ask him any question.
Tough pitch here by Miguel. A 2-0 fastball count to a guy who's just starting to heat it up in Chris Bryant.
Chris bounced back softly to Miguel and struck out. Got outguessed his last at bat.
That was a good pitch as Miguel cut it. It was out away from Bryant, looking fastball all the way, and didn't get a whole lot on it. Little cutter, you see the spin on it, and that took it off the sweet spot for Bryant.
Yeah, Chris and I were shaking hands before the game. I'll tell you, he's got a handshake. He got some paws on him.
Yeah, he's a big man.
Just got a piece of it.
Good straight change by Gonzo.
Yeah, just gets a piece of that one.
He's had him leaning over a couple of different times looking for the ball away. It's a nice time. Throw a fastball inside off the plate a couple of inches. Trying to jam him, looking for a soft ground ball to the left side. Let's see what Kevin Smith wants. Okay, so there's a fastball in. Let's see if he gets it there.
Well, what you idealistically would want to see him do was on one of those two swings with the ball away is to put it in play. Because it wasn't going anywhere.
But this is a good pitch. It's a good fastball. Puts it where he wants to. It's inside off the plate, which is the key to pitching inside. You don't always have to go in for a strike. Sometimes you're better served to go in off the plate. Bryant was able to fight it off.
He gone.
Well, he hasn't seen Miguel too often, and he certainly wasn't expecting that cutter on the inside part of the plate, but he gave up on it thinking that it looked exactly like the last fastball in, only at the last instant it cuts and shaves off the inside corner. This was probably the single best pitch he's thrown today. Pretty good numbers so far, just 3 hits.
Rizzo was hit by a pitch, just grazed, and then doubled into right center field. Moncada's got him. And that's a 1-2-3 inning. We'll go to the 6th in this 1-1 tie.
Coverage continues tomorrow with a day game at Wrigley before the teams head to the south side. Pre-game coverage starts at noon right here on CSN.
Tim Anderson will lead it off. He'll be followed by Adam Engel and Kevin Smith. One tie. Anderson is grounded to third and has an infield single.
And he's feeling the effects of fouling that ball off. Hermy on point. Tim takes it right off the instep of his left foot. So he'll take a while to shake off the effects of that. Melky took one off the foot and had to leave the ball game, but he's back in there today. Nothing a little ice can't take care of.
Well, Melky Cabrera wants to play every inning of every game.
He and Jose Abreu are very similar in that respect. You got to almost drag him out of there with a tractor. And Jose not only wants to play every day, he wants to play defensively and offensively every day.
One out.
I'd like to see Adam Engel, every time he gets up, Adam should take a look at third and see where whoever is playing third lines up. And if he is back where Bryant is back right now, lay one down. But now Bryant is moving in, and you know, if he gets a reputation that they're going to be in automatically at the corner.
I think we're going to see more of that in the future. I think the reason we haven't seen and the way he's been struggling lately is because of the way that ball hit hard, and you can put it on the board. Yes, Adam Engel, and it's a 2-1 Sox lead.
It'd be really dumb to think about a bunt when you can hit one out of the park into the wind like that. That's his third home run of the year, and Engel, who had crushed the ball last time, only to see Schwarber right in the way of it, unties the ball game. Our fourth home run replay, it's a fastball. It's down the middle, and Adam Engel is now 2 for 3, and the only time he was retired was a rocket.
Well, that's the reason JJ and Jessica Shearer picked him.
It's a wise pick.
There's the pick to click.
Right now it looks really good.
Of course, with that home run by Adam, the Alex Nelius family, another generous donation to White Sox charities in loving memory of Ursula. Well, we talked about it in the Kansas City series. Adam is just growing and growing and growing. He is looking better and better and better all the time.
We haven't seen one aspect of his game where he has appeared overmatched, because when he gets on, he can steal a base. He's got good technique. Defensively, he's been a revelation in center field because he's gone and gotten everything out there. Made some, not only every average play, he's made some spectacular plays.
Well, he's done what Austin Jackson did for us last year, is the reason we started off 23-10. Only he's faster than Austin Jackson, so he covers more ground.
One of the biggest factors with Austin out in center is Adam Eaton was able to move to right, where he excelled in right field. He played a Gold Glove right field.
Yeah, he was not a Gold Glove center fielder. He was a Gold Glove right fielder. A lot of people forget when Austin Jackson went down in the schedule because of the only one off day in April, caught our bullpen up. That's when we started sliding. There is Ball 4. So Kevin now 2 for 2 still with those 2 singles and the walk.
And the ideal situation, because now, fresh off a couple of routine groundouts, Miguel will have an opportunity to lay one down.
He actually has looked pretty good in his first 2 at-bats with that grounder to third and then a medium hard grounder up the middle to short.
Didn't look like he was even thinking about a bunt there. Could very well be that they change it and give him the sign here, but they're charging very hard. Chris Bryant's going to be right in on his doorstep, and Rizzo is charging with the pitch.
Well, you've heard it a lot of times when you were supposed to be bunting. Well, maybe not you, but a lot of pitchers have heard it a lot of times.
Don't let him take the bat out of your hand.
Don't let him take the bat out of your hand.
A lot of managers won't give you the leeway to do that. Some of them will. Some of them say, hey, look, if they're charging hard at the corners, just pull it back and swing it.
Butcher boy it. We're seeing some of our guys. They were talking about it about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. No, not this trip, the last road trip. Ricky was talking about getting some guys to butcher boy.
Alan Hansen works at that. We've seen him pregame. Alan Hansen works at that a lot.
Ozzie was one of the best you ever want to see it. Pretty good rip right there.
Nice job of staying alive.
Too many managers today try to micromanage every pitch, everything.
Good look at Ever Magianis, the interim third base coach.
Yes, he did. Foul tipped it. Fortune.
I think he's out. I don't think that he tipped it.
Well, if he didn't tip it, he's out because he's swung.
I'm pretty sure. He was trying to buy another pitch, but he wasn't in the neighborhood of this, and doesn't have to appeal it because Angel Hernandez said he did swing.
So here's Cabrera.
Now he's telling Miguel, you're out, by the way. We'll relax.
He's 1 for 3 with a run scored.
Nope, that one was not a strike, and Melky is now in a hole.
Definitely was not a strike.
Jason Hayward probably a little deeper than he normally would be. But he knows Kevin Smith does not run particularly well, and also he knows he's got to cut off the alley.
One and two the count with 2 down. We're in the top of the 6th inning. About a 53-footer.
So far, Wilson Contreras has done a really nice job of blocking every pitch down. Nothing has gotten by him yet.
Yeah, he's a good-looking 25-year-old player.
Yes, he is. And he was a guy a few years back, by the way, that was exposed to the Rule 5 draft. And nobody picked him.
Easy play for Graham. But the home run, the 3rd of the season by Adam Engel. And we lead it 2-1. rising, and here's one of the reasons why. When we get to the side shot, you can see right there. Now watch this. Watch how he keeps his hands in front of his chest, and you see the arm right there. Short arms, draws him in, and just absolutely destroys him. He got it. If you look at his record in the minor leagues, what he hit, most he hit 7 or 8 home runs. I'll tell you, this kid's got a chance at 20 home runs. And with the way he can throw the leather, he got a chance to be here for a long time.
Yeah, he looks at this point like there's not a whole lot he can't do.
Well, you know, the first thing that attracted me to him was the way he ran to first base.
He does and has run very hard. All the time.
And every time. So here we go. Here's Contreras. He's 0 for 2, a grounder to second. That ball's popped up. Kevin couldn't have got there. And he also has gone out to center field.
Not a bad idea.
Well, I love to see him try to bunt.
Sure.
You know, he doesn't do it a whole bunch, and besides that, it keeps him in the park because he can definitely leave the yard.
Well, he's got a little speed too, especially for a catcher. He swiped 3 bases.
He's just a good-looking 25-year-old player. Contreras got 15 home runs, 52 knocked in.
And there's no reason not to throw the same pitch. Throw that cutter away, and you're going to strike him out. Contreras with 77 strikeouts this year. He went to the high fastball, able to spoil it. Pedro Strop going into pen.
Well, I don't like those pins underneath. I like them where you're out there on the lines, the old-timey way where you could see them. There's a base hit. The leadoff man aboard.
Engel got that one up. And Contreras going the opposite way, dumps it into right field.
Here's Schwarber. Grounder to second and a pop-up. High pop-up. Major league pop-up to Abreu.
He's only ground into 3 double plays this year. One of the big reasons is that classic uppercut swing of a home run hitter. And Kyle's got one of those.
Yeah, he's got your classic left-handed power hitter swings vis-a-vis Chris Davis, but he can hit the pitch belt high and a little bit higher much better than Davis. Davis got a lot of home runs. One and one to count. Anderson on the first base side of second, but he's on the dirt. Outfield. Engel a little shallow out there, but he goes back pretty well. Ball hammered. Meanwhile, just a hard strike and the count 1-2. And a reminder, there are some limited tickets available for the Wednesday and Thursday games at our place against these Cubs. So call up and get some.
And get there early. We threw the cutter inside. Let's see if Kevin goes to something away.
Well, if it's away, I hope it's something soft and down.
I would prefer something soft. It looked like he was trying to get inside with the fastball. At least that's where Kevin was setting up. Schwarber does have a hole in his swing, and a lot of guys do. It's inside above the belt, right under the hands, but if you don't get it there, he can make you pay a steep price.
Oh, right to the bag. Perfect. Rack him up. 2 down.
Perfect spot for the fastball, because when a guy is a dead pull hitter, and that's one of the things that Schwarber has tried to work on, is going up the middle and to left center field. With the defense the way it is, when a guy's a dead pull hitter, you get him rolling over on the outside fastball, and turns into an easy 2. So for only the 4th time this year, Schwarber grounds into the double play. Good location for that fastball, sinking it away from Schwarber, and an easy 6-3.
Zobrist 0 for 1 with a walk, and he has scored their lone run. They're coming back in the 2nd inning. Takes first pitch strike.
Zobrist far superior from the left side. He came in at 250 left-handed, 127 as a right-hand hitter.
Zobrist wearing his uniform and his socks in a retro way.
Very much old school.
Yeah.
Seven of his 8 home runs and 27 of his 30 runs batted in have come from the left side. Well, that's a perfect pitch, and he didn't get the call. So that puts him in more of a hole than it would have been had that call been reversed. You see it on Toyota pitch cast at the whole plate at the knees.
Two out, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Gill has kept it to a minimum of pitches so far. He's used 77 pitches with 2 outs here in the 6th inning. He has walked a couple, but one was intentional, and then he hit Rizzo in the 1st inning.
That's into center field. We got a man there. After 6, it is 2-1 good guys.
An accident that could have cost him his life. An unexpected turn. The story of a White Sox fan, Tim Lala. That's Wednesday during White Sox pregame live.
Top of the 7th inning. And there's our guy, George Jacobs. I tell you, not too many bigger baseball fans than he is.
Well, after wearing that leather jacket in Kansas City, the fact that he is still here able to wear it with 99 and 100-degree temperatures is somewhat amazing. As Pedro Strop comes in the game for the 44th time, he's 3-2, ERA 2.72. He's been pretty good with 38 strikeouts and 36 and a third. There you look at the rest of the numbers.
Here's Moncada. Takes first pitch strike. Yawn, 1 for 3. Yeah, he's one of the biggest baseball fans I've ever known.
Strop came over in a deal that Cub fans will know and love, along with Jake Arrieta and 2 international bonus slots for Scott Feldman and Steve Clevenger. They went to Baltimore. That was a good trade.
That will go down as one of the best ever right there.
That's a dandy.
Jake Arrieta is healthy. I'll tell you what. As he gets him. Arrieta and Corey Kluber, 2 of the best right-handers in a long time, if they're healthy.
Well, speaking of health, the Dodgers just got a very bad break. 4 to 6 weeks. Their ace, Clayton Kershaw, will be on the shelf. Another back issue for him. So throwing it as well as he could possibly throw with 15 wins, he's going to be lost to that team for a while.
Well, it's coming at a good time because they only got a 10.5 game lead.
They're not. Yeah, they're going to win the division. They're going to make sure he has enough outings to take him into the playoffs.
That's why it's coming at a good time. You got plenty of time.
That's what it looks like in the West with the Rockies and the Diamondbacks, both having very good years, both most likely contending for the wild card, and there's a chance that both of them will make it.
$40,849. Abreu. Well, he had a rocket back through the middle for a single in the first inning. He hit a even harder rocket right to Chris Bryant at third, and then he knocked in Cabrera with a rocket double into right center field. So he has squared it up 3 times. Two out. And you can join us when our Sox face the Cleveland Indians on Sunday, July 30th at 1:10, and the first 15,000 fans will receive a White Sox water bottle presented by the Village of Bedford Park. So bring your business home to Bedford Park and win big. Visit whitesox.com to get your tickets today. Here's Avi's 0 for 3, and he's hit it very hard once. What job. Baez just flips it over there. 1, 2, 3 innings, 7th inning stretch. Sox lead at 2-1.
bottom part of the order, and Jay has done a pretty good job. It's Jay, Baez, and most likely a pinch hitter for the number 9 spot, currently occupied by Pedro Strop.
So here's Jay, a double. That set up that run back in the second inning, and a single. 32-year-old veteran. Good rip. Meanwhile, to count 0-2.
And there's a base hit. Nice piece of woodwork right there, especially an 0-2 count. So he's 3 for 3.
Jay dumps it into left field. Doesn't overswing, expands his strike zone, but turns into gold for him.
You can do that when you don't open up too quick and you just slow it down. Baez was intentionally walked and also grounded to second.
David Holmberg starts to loosen up in the Sox pen. Koji Uehara going for the Cubs. Beck has now joined him.
Ian Happ on deck.
There is the pen. With Beck, the right-hander, on the left, and Holmberg, the left-hander, on the right.
Decent lead by Jay. He's only attempted 1 stolen base and he's made it. Out and around it.
Baez has grounded into 8 double plays this year.
Nice gap out there in right center field. Between Engel and Avi, they can close that pretty quick. Back to the middle. Trouble brewing. First 2 men aboard.
To the fastball, and just by a diving Yoan Moncada. 2 on and nobody out. Former #1 draft pick Ian Happ coming on. And Rick Renteria looks like he's about ready to make a change, but he has not motioned yet.
Well, I think he's probably going to keep him because of the fact the bullpen's been struggling.
Boy, and it has indeed been that.
Unless Miguel were to say, hey, I'm out of gas. Now, I don't think he's going to say that.
No, he's still at just 84 pitches, so he's got something left. You got a guy in Happ who has a couple of sacrifice bunts this year.
Be liable to get his third pretty quick.
And he is going to leave him in. One of the things he talked about with everybody at the mound was how to defend the would-be bunt, assuming that Happ is going to do that. Much better hitter from the right side than the left, although his power does come from the left side.
Step off real quick in this seat. Now he's hitting. So we'll see if Joe's going to give him one shot and then put it on.
There you see the splits. With the most power from the side he's hitting on, however, been a much better hitter right-handed.
A quick step off.
No sign at all of a bunt there.
Nope. Joe's going for the jugular. One and two the count.
Good cutter. Fouled off the foot of Ian Happ. Good spot for it. Right off the left toe.
Got in on him with that one. 2 on, nobody out here in their half of the 7th inning. He gone. Yes.
Good solid pitch in a great location. And it's a curveball down. Yeah, swings over the top. University of Cincinnati product. Goes down on strikes. Take it right back to the top.
So here's Hayward. He's grounded to short, going out to left, and bounced out 3-1. That's into center field. We got a man there getting in good shape. Nobody's going anywhere, so 2 out. Boy, I was just thinking about that sequence. He didn't make a bad pitch in that sequence.
No. He worked him over very well and got a young hitter to expand his strike zone. And Hayward, a 1-pitch flyout, renders him 0 for 4, leaving it up to their MVP, Chris Bryant.
Bryant, who is 0 for 3, bounced back softly to Miguel in the first inning. Struck out in the 3rd and struck out in the 5th. 1-0 the count.
He used a fastball right there, exactly where he threw the first pitch to Bryant. He used that to set up the cutter on the inside corner that caught him looking back in the 5th inning. Conversation as Okada goes back to second base, wanting to know if there's a change of signs at all.
Jay at second, Baez at first. I'll tell you, 6 inches closer and he would have gone after that one. Way outside. 2-0 with Rizzo on deck. All right, this is where you gotta make some major league pitches to a major league hitter.
One way or the other is probably going to be the last man that Miguel is going to face.
There's one. Will load him up.
Looks like Ricker's going to stay with Miguel, despite the fact that he's gotten Rizzo out one time. Hit him once, a double in the 3rd. Got him on a ground ball at Moncada in the 5th. We're the bases loaded for Anthony Rizzo. He's been very good.
Outfield, for the most part, straight up. Bit of a gap out there in left center. Moncada out there in short right field. And there's first pitch strike. I think that probably was the last thing that Rizzo was looking for.
You didn't expect to get a fastball on the inside part of the plate for the first pitch.
Nope.
But you got to be careful if you go in off the plate because Rizzo doesn't mind getting hit.
No, he'll take one for the club. Oh, good, that boy, Kev. Quick shift.
Last couple of changeups, Miguel has not gotten in the neighborhood. So bases full of Cubs. Good speed by Baez out at second base. He represents the go-ahead run.
Big pitch right here, the 1-1. And the count 1-2.
Rizzo looked back at Angel Hernandez. He said strike. Angel says yes. At the upper reaches of the zone.
He's a hard up. Hard high. Slow low. 1-2. Not in the middle. That's in the center field. Deep, but we get a man there. Yes! And once again, Miguel Gonzalez pitches out of a jam, and it is still a 2-1 Sox lead.
eClick Lending is located in Chicagoland and is rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. eClick Lending. Boom! Your mortgage just happened. And Joe Madden goes to the pen. It's Koji Uehara who comes on in the 8th inning, on for the 37th time. ZRA touch over 3. He's 3-4. You look at the rest of the numbers. His control's been pretty good. Right-handers haven't done a whole lot with him. Left-handers have hurt him to the tune of 263. But it's all right-handed here in the 8th inning. It's a young Bias fan. He's got the hairstyle down, certainly. Here's a young Cub fan bringing his glove, which is going to come in handy if the ball sneaks through the net. Excuse me, a Sox fan. If the ball sneaks through the net, he'll make the play.
So it'll be Davidson, Anderson, the first two, and then Engel.
Certainly love to get at least one insurance run here. We told you a whole lot about the wind blowing in when the game started, and it certainly paid major dividends because Anthony Rizzo would have hit a grand slam home run easily without that wind blowing straight in.
That's out of play, Souvenir right side. Very quickly, 0-2. Davidson has struck out, grounded to short, and going out to center. He just missed that one to center field.
Uehara started his major league career in this country in Baltimore. Before that, he was in Japan from 1999 to 2008. After Baltimore was Texas and then Boston for 4 years.
The ball high deep. He just looks up and you can put it on the board. Yeah! Yeah! A bomb! And it's 3-1.
19 home runs for Matt Davidson. He's now driven in 44, and wind or no wind, or whatever park you care to mention, that one was gone. As Davidson takes it into the teeth of the wind, it's a Ford home run replay. It looked like a fastball that kind of settled over the inside part of the plate. And Matt knows he got every bit of that. As soon as it left the bat, he was into the trot.
Well, here's Anderson.
That one was absolutely obliterated. Just the third home run Uehara has given up. That one, a costly one for him and his Cubs.
Well, that might be one of the longest ones, if not the longest one he's ever thrown.
That one exploded off the bat. Gives you an idea of the power that Matt Davidson has.
2-0. And that is high, popped up. And that is out number 1. And a reminder, MLB.com @bat is your #1 mobile app for live White Sox baseball. You can stay connected with a fully customizable experience, so you can get White Sox home screen icons and app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, statcasts, news, and more. So download MLB.com @bat today. Here's Adam. He's 2 for 3. Checks it up, fouls it off. Last time up, he had a rocket out of here for a home run, his 3rd of the season. He had an infield single back in the 2nd. Then in the 4th, he hit a bullet right to Schwarber in left field.
A big part of the Cub game is the long ball. They had hit 136 home runs coming in. On the other side of the page, the Sox have not had the kind of power year they would have liked. But they've done it so far a bit of the Cubs way. They've now hit 107 home runs with the 2 here this afternoon.
Two down.
Kevin Smith has had a perfect day so far, hoping to keep it going.
2 for 2 with the base on balls.
Just now getting the smile off his face. And Matt Davidson pretty happy with the outcome, certainly, but I think he was pleasantly surprised with how far it went into the wind.
Pitch. Touch him up right here, Kel. 2-0. That's high and deep into right field. He's back on the track. Win. Meanwhile, a tremendous home run off the bat of Matt Davidson. Boom. And it's a 3-1 Sox lead. To go to the bottom of the 8th inning, Contreras, Schwarber, and Zobrist. And this is a big inning. Obviously, in a 3-1 ball game, because you don't want to turn this lineup over. Nice backhand, nice peg, yes, nice play.
Well, that was a terrific play as he went to his right. It's one thing to try to smother a short hop and another thing to do it backhanded, and that's what Matt did. He smothers that short hop backhanded, crossing over into foul territory with plenty of time to get it across in 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 8th.
So here's Schwarber. 0 for 3 last time up after Contreras had led it off with a single. He had a sharp grounder back up through the middle. Right to Tim Anderson, who was on the first base side of second. Stepped on the bag and easily doubled him up.
Miguel about ready to deliver pitch number 102. And what a job he's done today, regardless of how the rest of this works out. He's been terrific.
There's a strike. And the count 0-2. Well, last time out, he was just terrific.
Yeah, he went head-to-head with Clayton Kershaw
against the Dodgers.
Gave up just 1 run and lost it. And there you see, not too many troublesome innings, although he pitched out of a terrific jam last inning.
He's not afraid to pitch out of jams. We've seen that since he's had a White Sox uniform on.
No, and he's been around long enough and understands what he has to do to be successful. He's had to really modify his game, but he's done a nice job of coming up with a couple of other things to keep him in the lead. He would decide to do the same thing again. Go right back with that same fastball. Schwarber won't lay off this one.
There's a solid single into right field.
He got that ball down. Instead of that high fastball on the last pitch, that one was down thigh high to Schwarber, and he hit it hard.
There comes Ricky. Zobrist will be the hitter. What a job. What a job by Miguel Gonzalez. Wow. Terrific performance by Miguel. He departs. And we'll be back. All season long, because the day after the Sox win, you get 50% off your entire online order of regular menu priced items only at papajohns.com. Now, when you use promo code SOXWIN, valid at participating Papa John's locations only. So better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Our Hyundai call to the pen is the ever-present and very durable Dan Jennings. He's on for the 48th time. He's 3-1. His ERA just a touch below 3.5. He inherits Schwarber at first base. And the bottom part due up. He turns Zobrist around to the right side, where he's not quite as strong, and you've got Jay in the on-deck circle.
First pitch strike. That ball into this can of corn. 2 down.
John Jay has had a perfect day. Batting average now up to 300, so he's put 11 points on the batting average.
2 singles and a double. Big gap out there in right center.
Kyle Schwarber has yet to try to steal a base. And with that lead, it's not going to be his first now.
Fouls it back. 40,849 in attendance. Once again, a reminder for Wednesday and Thursday's game at our place, there are a limited amount of seats left. Count 2-1. Tomorrow, same place, same time. Carlos Rodon against big right-hander John Lackey, and that game will be over WGN. There's a good veteran play right there. So 2 out, 2 on.
And a perfect bunt. With the defense the way it was, all he knew was if he could get it on the grass, it's a base hit. He got it on the grass, and he represents a tying run. So Rick is going to flip-flop his batting order.
Kevin Smith will depart. Omar Narvaez comes out to do the catching. So the flip-flop right here. 2 out, bottom of the 8th, 2 on, and we'll be back.
Davidson. Anthony Swarzak has been pitching exceptionally well as of late. He's given up just one earned run in his last 13 appearances. He has a .61 ERA during that time span. So while his trade value continues to ride, Swarzak says that he's really not concerned about that. He says that he has no control over where or when he pitches. Right now, he's a White Sox, and he hopes he stays that way for a while. He was also asked about the closer role, and he said every relief pitcher in the minors, in the majors, wants to be a closer, but he's just happy with the opportunity he's been given. Steve, Hawk, let's go back up to you.
All right, Sierra, thank you very much. Right here, Swarzak on, and first pitch. Javier Baez taken low and away.
So a new battery. Omar Narvaez checks in behind the plate in the flip-flop batting order. Anthony Swarzak to the hill, and Baez has never faced Swarzak.
Baez. Big swing. He's 1 for 2. Intentional walk, a grounder to second, and a single.
There is no doubt that that slider in that spot for Baez is pretty close to unhittable because he can't lay off and he can't hit it.
Well, that's the poster child. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And just missed off the outside corner. Addison Russell has got a bat. He's in the on-deck circle.
Two and two.
Baez looking back to Angel Hernandez, wanting to know if that was a strike. Could make a case for it. You see the number 4. It's right on the borderline.
2 on, 2 out. 2 and 2 the count.
They want to see a fastball, but they want to see another slider. You would think so.
Pops him up. Bobby coming on, taking charge, and that will retire the side. So another tremendous job by Anthony Swarzak, and we're into the 9th.
Miller Time brought to you by Miller Lite. And here's our Miller moment, and it's Adam Engel. Grim on the hill, throws a fastball down. He hits it out. And at the time, made it a 2-1 ball game. Sox have added a Davidson home run to make it 3-1. That's our Miller moment. We get a new pitcher coming in the ball game for the Cubs. It's the left-hander, Brian Dunsing. Our guys certainly remember him from his days with the Minnesota Twins. On for the 39th time. He's been very good out of the pen. The ERA, 2.63.
Well, he's been up and down against us. He's had some really good outings, and he's had some really tough outings. First pitch strike to Narvaez. Cabrera on deck. Moncada in the hole. Oh, and 2 the count. Has line into left field, right at Schwarber. You're just joining us. We've hit some line drives today, right at guys.
Yeah, it's been one of those days where the offense, it's not going to look it, but the offense has been swinging it pretty well.
That gun right there.
So you would think it's a combination of Hendricks and Grimm and Strope, Uehara, and now Dunsing. Well, you should feel pretty good about this offense, especially hitting a couple of home runs into the wind.
So here is Cabrera. He's 1 for 4. Single and a run scored. Takes first pitch strike. Outfield straight up. Just a small gap out there in left center. Bryant's got it. So he is now 6 for 22 lifetime off Dunsing. For their guys leading off, it'll be the 9th place hitter, then back to the top of the order with Hayward and Bryant and Rizzo.
Okada will turn around and hit from the right side for the first time today.
First pitch strike. Gap out there in left center. Once again, a reminder, limited amount of tickets for Wednesday and Thursday's game at our place. So make your call and get yours.
Dunsing was at the University of Nebraska, teammates of Jobber Chamberlain, and we just saw his other teammate Alex Gordon, second pick in the draft out of Nebraska.
Dunsing with a quick disposal. 1-2-3, and we'll go to the bottom of the 9th, leading 3-1.
with these Cubs. Tomorrow here, and then Wednesday and Thursday back at our place for night games. And then the Indians come to town Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And there is your White Sox upcoming schedule. It's a nice long homestand, including the first two with the Cubs. So we head into the bottom of the ninth inning. It's a 2-run lead and a chance to capture the first of this 4-game 2-2 series with the Cubs. Addison Russell is going to come on to pinch hit.
So Swarzak. First pitch strike.
Something Russell doesn't do a whole lot of because he plays just about each and every day. Although he is 2 for 8 as a pinch hitter this year.
And very quickly the count is going to be 0-2. That's about 4 rows back. Souvenir. Jason Hayward on deck. Chris Bryant in the hole.
Off the mask, and then Angel Hernandez went out to give Omar a chance to regroup. And Omar, as Hernandez was out there, what he was doing was patting the ground as if to tell Swarzak, if I call a slider, I want it down. Throw it in the ground. I won't let it go if he swings. I will stop it. That's a high fastball he's calling for.
Hit it up. Just didn't get a piece of it.
Exactly where Omar wanted it. Anthony threw it right there, and Russell was able to stay alive.
Two. He gone. 1 out.
Trying to throw that slider there the entire at bat, finally getting it there, and Russell swung through it. Good location, perfect spot for the slider. It's down, it's just off the outside corner. Could not have thrown it any better.
Well, if Coop had diagrammed that before the game, pitched to Addison Russell with 2 strikes, that's where he would have gone.
Put it right there, son, you'll be okay.
He'll grab some bench.
Every out a big out, but the more outs you get in a situation where the man in the on-deck circle is a tying run, you're in pretty good shape.
First pitch strike to Jason. He has grounded to short, gone out to left, bounced out to Abreu, and he's going out to center.
Jason might have thought that one was a little high. He would have a good case.
Now, for the most part, straight up, there is a little gap out there in left center. You got 3 guys out on the grass. Abreu, Moncada, and Anderson. High pop-up. Anderson. Now Moncada. They got to get that straight.
Yeah, we've got to have a little better communication as normally, shortstop calls for it, you let him catch it, just give way. But Yohan with a smile on his face as the wind was taking it. And eventually, Moncada just settled under it and made the catch.
Well, they just talked about it for a couple seconds out there. Center fielder is the captain out there in the call. Shortstop is the captain on the infield in the call. Although if it's even close on the right side, I won't Abreu. Two down.
You let the sure man make it, and Abreu is
exactly
terrific.
Yes, he is. He's one of the best I've ever seen. Bryant 0 for 3 with a walk. Strike.
This will be a career first. If Anthony can nail it down, would be his first career save. How about that?
Strike. I can tell you one thing. He keeps throwing like this. It won't be his last if he gets it.
Well, he's going to get the opportunity.
He is. It might be with somebody else because somebody's going to come after him.
I tell you, the kind of year
a lot of
he's had,
guys.
and with everybody in the world searching for bullpen help, except the people that have a football team.
Yeah. He did not go.
Nice appeal by Omar, but it was not even close.
That same pitch is just about 3 or 4 miles an hour slower. The 1-2. Gotta hurry. That should be a base hit.
That will be a base hit. Him realizing that Bryant can get down the line in a hurry, and the Cubs managed to stay alive for a very dangerous left-hand hitter. It's a do-or-die pick. He could not make the play. And Rick Renteria now comes out, wanting to meet with everybody. Much can feel it's going to happen, where you have one of the best around in a situation where you can tie it up, and you know you're going to face him, and here it is.
Last time up, he just killed one with the bases loaded. Wind kept it in the ballpark. He also has doubled sharply in right center field.
And Jose called timeout to tell Anthony Swarzak he's going to play behind Bryant. But you certainly want to take the line away.
Yes.
You don't want to get off his right shoulder. You want to play off his left shoulder.
There he goes. There's a strike and the count 1-1. Outfield, they're deep where they should be. No double set. Avi almost a couple of, maybe 1 foot off the track.
They're trying to move Jose closer to the line at first. Now he's over there. He was off the line a bit, and they kept on motioning from the dugout. Get back and get closer to the line.
Well, the way you play the line on a guy like Rizzo is if he hits his best shot, you got to make sure you can cover it down that line. You can't cover his best shot down that line from where he is now. Well, he's thrown 2 strikes and he's only got 1 of them, so a 3-1 count. Abreu way back and still off the line. So that'll bring up Wilson Contreras.
You got to get way back there if you're in the outfield, and they are back there. It's a no double set.
They've been back there with Rizzo. Schwarber on deck with a 1-0 count to Contreras. This drama all started with a 2-out little dribbler infield hit by Bryant.
All he was trying to do was stay alive, and he got a good slider and just barely get the bat on it and turned into goal.
Big pitch, the 1-1. It's 1-2.
That was a good pitch. Contreras doesn't like to call Angel Hernandez, but that one was on the corner. It's got a piece of the corner. And now, because he's called that pitch out there, a good slider, starting in the same spot and taking it about 3 inches off the corner is the spot.
That's a good call, Stoney. Super call. He gone, and this ball game is over. Anthony Swarzak, Mercy.
First career save, 2 fastballs, dotted the I on the outside corner. Contreras didn't like it. It didn't matter. They were both strikes. And the 9-game losing streak is history. Anthony Swarzak spent a long time trying to get that first save, and it couldn't come at a better time.
And how about Miguel Gonzalez?
Miguel Gonzalez was absolutely brilliant. He went 7 1/3 with a run on 7 hits. He was absolutely brilliant. He gave up that run in the second inning, and for a while, the Sox couldn't get anything done. The long ball reared its head, and the Sox win the first of a home and home with the Cubs.
All right. So for my partner, Steve Stone, and for our producer, Keon Dolashahi, our director, Todd Benjaminson, our associate producer, Dave Ross, for the mayor, Mean Joe Groove, our technical manager, Mark Harper, and for Doug Bullard down in the truck, the executive producer, Jim Corno Jr. This is The Hawk. So long, everybody. Coming up next is Subaru Post Game Live.